The next item up is Crespo versus Russo, and I do know that one of my fellow commissioners has recused himself when it comes to matters involving Mr. Crespo, which would mean that we wouldn't have a quorum to address this matter, unless you think otherwise.
I don't see any way around that, so...
I don't either. And so, and Mr. Crespo, I know you brought up the issue yourself, I know you're present, and regarding the issue for reconsideration, I know Mr. Melton, you're here, but they involve Mr. Crespo, and we wouldn't have a quorum, and I do agree that Commissioner Mayreen, having read through the minutes, she's the one that brought up the motion. Obviously, I seconded it, I had certain concerns. I do think it would be appropriate to table this until the next meeting.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
The judge has to provide a reason for the recusal. He just can't recuse himself. He has to provide a reason why he recuses himself, and it has to be a legitimate reason within the statutes.
Mr. Crespo, I understand
definition.
that, and I'm just saying that at this point, we don't need the back and forth. You said your piece, and you said that in the
just pointing it out for the record.
And I know because he's present, perhaps you're doing it again.
I'm just pointing it out for the record, you know?
Very well.
I'm going to have a record of this.
Mr. Crespo, I fully understand that. I appreciate your comments, but it's inappropriate at this time to bring that up again. It's already been brought up, and we understand. As far as tabling it, as the chair, I'm going to make the motion that we table C-1505, the ratification of the letter, as well as there were some issues that were brought up by Mr. Melton that involved Mr. Russo, as we mentioned earlier, as well as Mr. Trump and the mayor of the county. So at this point, because it involves Mr. Crespo, because Commissioner Mayreen is not here, we wouldn't have a quorum. I think we need to go ahead and table all those issues regarding Mayor Jimenez, Donald and Mr. Russo until the next meeting in September. And I apologize for those individuals. I think council's here.
Mr. Chairman, just
Mr. Coffey.
Respectfully requesting the issue regarding Mr. Russo's letter of instruction is something you would need to take action on, so you need to have a quorum here. Would you allow me to bring up under the old business category to at least address some of the comments that were made about me at the last meeting concerning the Trump complaints and the Jimenez complaints? I really think those need to be addressed. I've seen some recent newspaper articles where Mr. Melton just continues to misrepresent facts to the press and put out there in the public things that simply are not true. And I think they need to be addressed sooner rather than later.
I can appreciate that, Mr. Borowski. However, because we don't have a quorum today, and because my fellow commissioner will recuse himself, because this involves a matter that was brought up, the complaint was brought up, I understand that you may have those concerns, and perhaps there's another forum for you to address it. I understand that this would be an appropriate forum. I don't know what other forums exist for you to respond, nor am I suggesting that you do. I'm just saying at this point, I don't feel that it's appropriate. Again, I have another fellow commissioner here, and I welcome your opinion if you have any on this issue, but it would be my opinion that we cannot bring up this issue, whether it's new business or old business at this time.
Until there's a quorum?
You can write me a letter, I'll publish it.
Until there's a quorum.
Mr. Cresswell, please.
No, I just offered, he writes me a letter, I'll publish it on my blog.
Please. Any comment as to that? Yes.
You made a motion to table the item. Has that been seconded?
Motion to table 1505.
I've made yes, and you're absolutely right. I motion to table 1505, which was the ratification letter, but there was also the issue, and I don't necessarily see it here, which Mr. Melton brought up. I guess it goes along with that letter, but it was more broad than that. I don't know why it's not even on, I don't see it here on the agenda, but perhaps it was to be included in that or brought up in old business. Nevertheless, I don't feel that it's appropriate, and my motion would be that we table that, and we table the issues that were brought up by Mr. Melton previously because we don't have a quorum.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And at this point, we will...
There's been no vote by the judge.
I'm not voting, I've recused
Well, then you-
myself.
then you can't
So
take action at all.
essentially, by matter of
It'll be
operation,
deferred, I think, to the next.
we're tabling it to the next meeting.
Yeah, well.
But I understand where you're coming from, Mr. President.
Just
The
want it for
reality
the-
is, is
I
you
want
can't-
it for
you
the
can't
record.
vote. So I just want to be clear that our opinion stands that this should be tabled. And so at this point, as a matter of operation, that's what we're going to do, seeing as my fellow commissioner has recused himself from these matters. And I understand your opinion, Mr. President. So with that said, we will move on to the next one.